Hi guys, it's Leslie from a series of Frugal Thought. My Frugal Thought for today is something that was actually kind of a series of thoughts. I had heard somewhere the other day about some YouTube family who just kind of came out and admitted or confessed or whatever you want to, or shared with people that they had close to $100,000 worth of consumer debt, car loans, credit card debts, whatever, and they have a YouTube channel and they talk about frugality, and which I think you can talk about frugality and have debt and still be trying to get yourself out of it. So I don't have a problem with that. But it got me thinking about one of the things from The Millionaire Next Door, which is that you never know what is going on in other people's lives. And you also have to live your own life, and you have to not worry about what the Joneses are doing, not worry about status symbols. And it then got me thinking about what was, because I share with you thoughts about how to become frugal and how to live your life as a minimalist, and what was the biggest mistake, that we ever made in terms of financial decisions. And the one that I thought of immediately, which was the biggest mistake my husband and I ever made, and the biggest waste of money, which was just not, it was a lot of money that we wasted, was we had paid for years for a storage unit that really was full of stuff we should have gotten rid of and donated. So that's the short version. The longer version is that when we first got married, I was living in Philadelphia, my husband was living in Baltimore, and I moved my apartment into his apartment in Baltimore. We shortly thereafter learned that we would be moving back to Philadelphia unexpectedly for his job. And so while we were waiting, we moved into our home, the one I'm currently sitting in January. I'm sorry, we moved back to Philadelphia in January. We were not going to be able to settle on this home until February. So for a 6-week period of time, we needed a place to keep some stuff because they had put us up in a temporary apartment. It's called a Corman Suites. I don't know if they're national or not, but anyway, while we were living in the Corman Suites, we had put a lot of my stuff, including I had nothing from my childhood home. I had everything with me, so there was nothing back at parents' house for either one of us. Pretty much everything was out there, and we had everything we owned in our entire life with us. So we had decided to get a storage unit until we moved into the home. And cut this short and make this as short as possible, but after we moved into our home, we were setting up the home, we were working, I got pregnant, we had children, and at some point throughout this, I would say, Chris, what is in that? Like, do we still even have that storage unit? And he said yes, and at some point, a year later, and the big thing is that when we initially got the storage unit, it was $25 a month. And that was bad enough, but it was $25 a month. So it was $400 a year. It was ridiculous to spend that kind of money. Bad enough, but it was storing our stuff. At about 5 years into it, I said to my husband, you know what? I don't want anything that's in that storage unit that belongs to me. It was clothing that was a size 2. I was no longer a size 2. My work clothing, at that point, I was already had 3 or 4 kids. It didn't seem likely that I would ever be going back to work. And if I did go back to work, I was not going to probably, unfortunately, be a size 2 anymore. And some college books, some old books, just things. I remember I donated all my old books. I donated all my old women's business clothes. I got rid of all my stuff. And I've been to the storage unit once. I'm going to fast forward now, 20 years or something. And to make a long story short, in April of 2016, after years of not really entirely paying attention to my finances, which is a huge mistake. No, I said that wrong. It wasn't that I wasn't paying attention to my finances. I was doing that on a daily basis. I wasn't really looking at our expenses and our daily monthly, credits, our monthly credit card bills, I guess, because I knew what I was spending money on and how much I spent, and I knew that I was being careful with our money. And I wasn't particularly worried about the storage unit, even though I would say it periodically, oh, we ought to get rid of that. oh, Chris, you got to get rid of that. What's the point of that? And at some point he did go over and get some of the stuff out and brought it into the home, and then we donated some of that stuff. Anyway, it was just one of those things that never got completely finished. And in April 2016, I opened up our credit card bill, which is something I didn't always do. Usually I just said, oh, Chris, I just wanted to see. And I would see how much it was. But this time I really went through it. And I noticed there was a bill from a storage company. And it was for $300 and I think $24 or $42 a month. Which means that towards the end, we were paying close to $4,000 a year to store things in this unit. And the unit was just a 10 by 10, like it was tiny. So I had my husband do like a quick search of how much money we have spent over the years on that unit. And I want to tell you that we wasted over $40,000 over the years. Apparently it had gone up to $50, then it went up to $100 a month, and it was always well-intentioned, but then someone got sick, and I had, XYZ happen, and my kids had to go, we went to, spring trek, whatever. It was just all this life stuff that happens. So my two lessons from this is really don't get a storage unit. I recently read a Yahoo or something that said the biggest waste of money, the number one biggest waste of money that Americans use is storage units. And there are documentaries and there are TBS commercials and stations devoted to going to these old storage units that people are still paying for and they forget that they have. And sadly, we did that. We wasted, as I was worrying about saving dollars here and there, we were spending hundreds of dollars a month on at the end, it basically turned out to be some books that my husband had. So this is a very long, drawn out story, but the end result is to share with you that even those of us who consider ourselves frugals can sometimes have some colossal failures, and this was a colossal failure by me and my husband, and that within days of realizing this colossal failure, we had shut that thing down. My husband had gotten his stuff out. We packed up, donated, reassigned places for it. And I guess the one positive is that we're going on close to 4 years now of not paying for storage. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that there are some, and the takeaway from all of this is that keep track of your monthly expenses. I would say that is something that we were bad about before, even though we knew we were being careful, if that makes any sense. And while we had a budget, I didn't, or rather, while I knew what was being budgeted, if this makes any sense, I wasn't really paying attention to what was in the budget, if that makes any sense. Anyway, that is my story, the colossal failure and the biggest money mistake my husband and I ever made. If you like this kind of content, and if you would like to get more of these kind of videos, please like and consider subscribing to my video. I really appreciate all of my viewers. I really enjoy doing this. I have another channel called The Whole Shebang, which is somewhat different content, so take a look at that also. This is Leslie. Until next time, have a great day. Thanks.